Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hankrum Gaming channel, and today we will be talking about Anthem. And in today's review we will be talking about combat, game style, story, and possibly miscellaneous items of the game. So first, the combat. The combat is actually pretty good. It's very fast-paced. The javelins feel great to play, and the abilities are pretty cool actually. The thing is, I noticed a lot of recycled sounds from Mass Effect, and a lot of the styles are also used in Mass Effect. So it loses its unique feeling once you start playing around with it too much. But other than that, it still feels good. I feel like they took the element from Mass Effect Andromeda and that I loved the most, and they made it into a video game, which was the multiplayer. The multiplayer in Mass Effect Andromeda was very fast-paced. It was fun. It was exciting. But it got boring really quickly because it was the same thing over and over again. And this game suffers from that exact illness, I guess.
I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
The problem is that you're always doing the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's a mission. It doesn't matter if it's a fortress, which is their version of a dungeon. You are always doing the same thing. You go to the fortress, Fort Tarsus, which is your hub, kind of like the Normandy or whatchamacallit in Dragon Age Inquisition. I forgot the name of it. Alright, Dragon Age 1, we go back to camp. It's where you upgrade your weapons, you talk to your crew, to your people, to stuff like that, basically. But nobody really cares about anything once you're in Fort Tarsus. It's a very bland place. It is claustrophobic. It is cramped, which I guess they're the same thing, but I don't know. The Normandy was cramped, but it didn't feel claustrophobic to me, at least. This place, it has high ceilings, but everything is smushed together, so you feel like you're bumping shoulders with everyone. And if that's the feeling that they wanted to get across, great. It's not a good feeling, though. Why would you want to make your player feel that way a third of the game? And actually, it's probably more than a third. You'll see how long I'm spending here just, looking at lore. I wanted to get into the game. I'm looking at lore. I'm checking things out. But I can't seem to find I care about anything all that much. Nothing really grabs my eye. It was just somebody looking for a poster cleaner. I get it. It's a joke. Haha. You're trying to wipe it down so people can read it without having to click on it. I get it. There's also a guy with a tape player and radio in one. I guess it's a boombox. He's passed out. He's on the balcony upstairs. You can press the button and you get the kind of like the Silver Shroud in Fallout 4. You get a detective story, but it's focused around freelancers and javelins. So that's pretty much all I can say about the combat, I guess. The biggest problem I was having with the game was that it was repetitive. It was so repetitive that after playing the demo, the public demo, for what must have been at least 10 hours, I think. And then I played the private demo for the people who pre-ordered Legion of Dawn edition. It was just 10 hours. I didn't get to play it the full extra week. And then I played it. I didn't play the full 10 hours, actually. I didn't get a chance to. But I would have gotten to play only 10 hours. And then I played the live version for 9 hours. Now that period I timed because I was going to use it for a review. So I played 9 hours of this game in the full release, and I'm bored with it. I'm done. I'm just, it's not worth my time, really. That's all I can say about it.
Just look at the market lately.
I don't think that you should buy a game where the combat just wears out. You spend a lot of your time in Fort Tarsus, which is your main hub. You spend a lot of time in loading screens. It's not as bad as some people say, like 30 seconds to a minute loading screen. You will see that right now. And it's not that bad. Okay, on the left, that's not a loading bar. That's searching for players. Now the loading bar begins. And I should probably insert a marker here so I don't mess it up. But hey, I didn't do it. So let's hope for the best. As you see, it's going up slowly, and it looks like it's going to be like a whole minute. But in fact, it's about now that it should start. Or I'm being delusional. Yeah, it loads halfway and then it just fills up the whole bar. So that was about 10 seconds. I'm gonna time it. Maybe not 10, but 20 seconds. I'm gonna time it and come back. Yeah, it wasn't 10 seconds, it was 26 seconds. So, okay, I can kind of see the 30-second marker. But that's generally unusual. This is a free play mission, and the bars are generally a little bit longer. Not a free play mission, but a large mission. The bars are usually pretty quick, especially if you're going to Tarsus and back. Now, I'm testing on an SSD, which is why I'm talking about a 30-second mark from that one review that I saw somewhere.
You should find a missing
But
artist here, freelancer.
the real issue that I'm talking about is that you have to go back and forth. Even in free play, your inventory fills up. Really? That's something that you thought you needed in this game, limited inventory space. Because, god damn it, you didn't. You didn't need a limited inventory space in a game where you're planning on loading back and forth every single time. Especially in free play. At least let somebody dump their inventory outside of the Fort Tarsus. Have an inventory dump. Somewhere where we can go. Maybe a forge outside of Fort Tarsus. So we can do that stuff outside and not have to load in, then load into the forge, load out of the forge, load back into the free play. You're stacking loading screens on top of loading screens at this point. It's ridiculous. And right now I'm not talking about combat. I'm talking about systems. Everything is a problem. Honestly, everything is a problem in this game, and including combat. Some of the spells are just ridiculous. They always miss, like this ice spell, or there are always direct hits. Chains are not really explained, because I have spells that can chain, but they don't chain all the time. So I don't know what to do with this game, really. And I'm not even getting into bugs, which I'm going to get into next. So talking about bugs, there have been some interesting bugs, but through something like 20 total hours of gameplay, I've encountered only one disconnect and one freeze from the servers, and that's about it. That's all I remember about bugs into the game. So it's pretty polished, I think. But then again, I didn't give it the full 25 to 30 hour test, so I could be missing stuff. I checked other reviews. Nobody mentioned any serious bugs that I could replicate myself. So I would say this is a pretty polished game. So back to the pros and cons. The pros, the world is very well detailed. It is a nice place, but a lot of the sounds and effects seem to be recycled from Mass Effect Andromeda. The faces of the people still have that rubber mask issue. A lot of them do. And the story just doesn't grab me. There's one character that I kind of like, and I forgot the name of him, but he's got tribal tattoos on his shoulders, something like the New Zealanders have. So, and he's, you know, the average macho guy, but there's something off with his character. It's like he's an amalgamation of two different people. Like he's nice, kind of like brotherly, fatherly type, and then he switches to this I don't know, brainless berserker in the beginning, and it's all a mesh and mix and match of stuff that the story I just didn't find enjoyable. The Fort Tarsus is very bland, very boring, and cramped, even though it does have the high ceiling, so they tried to alleviate that, but it doesn't work, especially in the market. It's a very cramped space. So being a cramped space is not really fun, at least not for me, and I don't know what to make of the game. It's just a boring rehash, in my opinion. And if that's all I got to say about the game at this point, I would say it's not worth the $60 or the $80 they're asking for it. And it's definitely not worth a $15 a month subscription to whatchamacallits, the Premier EA Access, Origin Access Premier, or the basic either. So I'm kind of glad I didn't spend the extra $15 to make it a $95 investment into this, because as you can see, there's no ads on my channel. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have anything. All the reviews are out of my pocket, and I'm not complaining about it, but it's gonna make me a little bit tougher on the game, and that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna put the same amount of effort into this review as they put into the game. Not much. I'm playing some footage and talking over it. That's all I'm doing. I'm not gonna do some hardcore editing. I'm not gonna do anything. This is what this game deserves, in my opinion. They recycled the faces from Mass Effect Andromeda, which we didn't like. They recycled a lot of the sounds, a lot of the effects. Even the combat is from Mass Effect Andromeda's player versus player. Not player versus player. I'm sorry, multiplayer. Stuff. You know, you can hover, you can use your abilities. You have an ultimate. That's the combat. And even though it's fast-paced and it's fun, it is not enough to carry the game. And considering that a lot of the missions are relying on server population and how many people you got online, pretty soon you won't be able to do the other stuff, because number one, the game didn't sell well. Number two, it gets boring really quickly, so the turnaround time on players is going to be very short. Like, I'm not playing it anymore. I'm done. Maybe I'll jump into it once in a while. But like I said, it's not worth the $60, and it's not worth the $80. So I don't know what to do with it. I wanted BioWare to survive, but if all they got is politics, half-assed games, and that's it. I mean, if you're going to support them because of their politics, you may as well support a charity that does something with the money, you know, instead of a game studio who just, you know, uses their games for whatever. And by politics, I do mean Mass Effect Andromeda. They made a big hoopla about a women-only studio doing the animations. And great if they were great animations, but I can't say they were. And if they're going to recycle them, I'm sorry, but you guys are done. There's nothing in this world to really hold me in it. And if I gotta compare it to other games, Elix has the same amount of detail in its world. And it's already 3 years old, I think. Elix came out in 2016, I think. And it has about the same faces, so what is this game gonna get as a score? What do you think? I'm gonna give it a D because it doesn't have as many bugs. 6 out of 10, my final verdict. I'm very disappointed. If you want, you can watch my Andromeda review. I'll link it down in the description. I I tried for an hour and a half to justify the existence of Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda. I couldn't figure it out. I gave it a higher score than I should have, actually. That's how much I like BioWare as a studio. But I'm disappointed. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and thank you for sticking with me for almost 16 minutes now. I'll see you next time.